O que deve ter de panela é brincadeira? Ah, eu não sou muito convicto desse termo panela, guys. Porque, mano, isso acontece em tudo. É questão de proximidade, né? Tipo, acontece no futebol, pô. Sei lá, às vezes os caras jogaram num time junto. Tiveram uma relação boa, tá ligado? É muito fácil do cara querer jogar de novo e querer ter, tipo, a mesma experiência, tá ligado? Tipo, por exemplo, esse time da KT é uma panela, é uma grande uma panela. Piosic, Deft, Barrel, pô, o que esses caras estão fazendo juntos de novo? Tá ligado? Só que tu pensa, pô, não faz sentido o Barrel querer jogar com o Piosic, guys. Não faz sentido na cabeça dele. O cara foi campeão mundial junto, pô. Os caras têm uma experiência juntos ali positiva, tá ligado? Aí pergunta pro Barrel, quem que você quer jogar na jungle? Ele fala, caralho, mano, eu fui campeão do mundo com o Piosic ano passado. Ah, não, quero jogar com o Sponge. Tá ligado?
At the beginning of, I think it was like level 7 or 8, give or take, kind of started a lot of the problems.
Tipo, eu entendo que pode ser um pouco de panela, mas eu também entendo o cara querer jogar, não?
Yeah, I think that out of all the jungles, Vi is definitely the one that stands out. That's like not a tank jungle, but is still extremely strong in this meta. And oftentimes does get banned out. Got banned out in game 1 by DRX, actually. As BDD is going to slam the...
Ou era panela na minha época?
For the first pick. Which is pretty interesting. Does have a good matchup in the lane against the Corki. So even if Satep decided, okay, I'm going for this.
Ah, pô, acho que a panela... Acho que a panela maior que tem é o... Panela, né, mano? É a Red, né? Os primos, pô. Os caras sempre querem jogar junto, tá ligado? Era uma panela isso, né? Mas é aquilo, né, mano? Experiência, os caras jogaram junto, foram campeão 2 vezes, tá ligado? Como que eles não querem jogar juntos de novo? Mesma coisa, o Ranger aí falando que queria jogar com o Titã e com o Dinquedo. É uma panela, pô, mas... Os caras tiveram uma experiência muito boa juntos, óbvio que eles querem jogar de novo, tá ligado? Você com o Celso também era? Não, pior que não, mano. Pior que eu e o Celso a gente teve muitas oportunidades de sair, de cada um ir pra um lugar. E a gente queria jogar junto, pô. A gente gostava de jogar junto, tá ligado? E, mano, vocês podem falar o que vocês quiserem. Tipo assim, vocês podem zoar e tal. Mas eu e o Celso, a gente era uma das melhores bot lane, mano. E a gente passou por uns times, mano.
Very low win rate at the moment, sitting at 26%.
Hey, Closer got that one win.
Yeah, he did.
He was working hard.
Saved Azir from the 11% win rate from week 2. A little bit. But yeah, generally doesn't have a great early matchup into the Orianna either. So definitely going to have to see some game-changing plays, as we saw of Azione, but this time on the Azir.
I imagine you gotta ban Poppy here. I feel like Poppy on the side of KT, that is. I feel like Poppy is so good. Also really remarkable.
O problema era o foco, dude. Seu foco era outro. Qual que era o meu foco, monstro?
Also, Aphelios Melio is available.
Yeah.
You could just play that.
Yeah, so the Ezreal, in theory, I get it, but in practice, like, if this was next patch, that's a good ban. Right now, I'm not super excited about it. I feel like there are a lot of options here. The most obvious one, as mentioned, is the Jinx with probably Kench.
Esse Deft aí, hein, mano. Jinx dele? Jinx TK aqui? Gosto, hein? Gosto da Jinx TK do Barrel, mano. Jinx TK. Gosto dessa Jinx TK contra Zayrakan, velho.
That is kind of out of nowhere, but look at the amount of stationary carries on the enemy team. And even if they're you know, if you get out an early devour, this Jarvan with just his ult is going to have so much backline pressure, and we'll see if that is going to be enough. Straight team fighting comp from DRX this time around, but then you look at KT, and yeah, they don't have frontline, but front-to-back team fighting with Orianna.
O foda, mano, é que
is always going to feel good.
eu acho que o Rumble é muito bom contra a Trox, tá ligado? Só que eu acho que o cara tem que ser um top laner bom. Tipo, esse cara não amassou o Atrox no último jogo, tá ligado? Isso a gente já viu o Atrox, mano, ser derretido pro Rumble, velho. Sei lá, se é o Zeus. Esse matchup é impossível de jogar contra o Zeus. Se é o King, se é o Dora. Muito difícil jogar top de Atrox contra o Rumble desses caras. Agora, jogar de o Radical, jogar contra o Perfect, parece que tá de boa. Não sei. Gosto da comp da KT, mas tenho um pouco de medo. Não gosto tanto de Lee Sin assim. E o Rumble de um cara não tão bom, né? Não é ruim, um cara não tão bom me deixa um pouco preocupado.
Absolutely. Well, we have game number 2. It starts right now. Here we go, game number 2. Sponge pulling out the Jarvan. We haven't seen a lot of Jarvan. I believe Cuz played it most recently in the match. I think it was just yesterday against Gen G, where he used his Cataclysm onto Pays that one time, and it was like a really nice angle. They were able to collapse.
Very true.
I think Jarvan is a very interesting jungle. It's not a tank. Keep in mind that Maokai...
Orianna do BDD é forte, hein, mano. Eu gosto dele, tanto de Azir quanto de Orianna. Parece que ele é diferente com esses dois bonecos. O corquinho dele aí não foi muito legal, não. Nossa, Trox de cometa, velho. Que merda, hein? Eu não gosto de Atrox de cometa, não, mano. Sinto que você sacrifica muito da teamfight pra ganhar a lane. A lane fica bem melhor, né? Mas acho que perde muito na teamfight. O Conqueror é muito fácil pro Atrox. Proca muito, aumenta a cura. Tipo, todo Atrox comba, né, com a Conqueror, velho.
Not to take too much damage, and this shouldn't be a really big surprise because we have seen that the Jinx is, in general, a pick that if you get to mid to late game, and we've seen a lot of teams get very ahead with it early, Teddy himself as well, it can be quite good. And Xayah just hates being outraged. And there was a lot of that on the KT comp. So I think for Teddy, this is going to be a hard game. Need to see more of the rest of the team. Do some heavy lifting from that top half of the map.
Yeah, the Jinx gonna have a wonderful time, the Orianna potentially as well, but
E sim, sobe top pra daivar, não, né? Olha isso, mano, como o Sponge tá certinho, tá ligado? Ó, o Sponge começou bot, esquipou sapo, esquipou galinha, e ele tá top aqui pra não deixar o cara tomar dive. Vai botar mal ward ainda? Botou mal ward ainda pro top dele não tomar dive, cara. Que cara... Mano. Que cara cleanzinho, velho. Aí no BR você já estaria onde agora, nesse exato momento? Ele estaria literalmente esperando o Aronguejo nascer do bot.
Find yourself on struggle street early on.
I want to highlight as well, as you talk a little bit about, you know, what we might expect. Deft actually, with that big crash, went back bought a call. So gets a cheater recall off, is going to be able to pick up the CS from here on out, while simultaneously now just generating a lead for himself. Wouldn't be surprised if Teddy ends up going for the support item, which might change the equation a little bit, as Now it is DRX bot lane that has to shove, but if Def picks all of these up, gonna have a really big lead. As I don't know about this, there is a
Toma dive aqui.
Perfect, and Rascal has already taken a decent amount of damage. So if they play this cleanly, should be a good opportunity. As Rascal, oh no,
Yeah, doesn't expect it. Runs straight into the bush. Now he can't
Só gasta flash, né?
out of this one.
Olha, ele morreu.
He's got to use it soon if he is going to go for it. There's the flash. The flashy does miss, but the Q is secured.
Tá,
As
tá
Pioche
bom.
will pick up first blood.
Mano, o E dele não deu dano? O que foi aquilo?
Something done here. Pioche. Oh, sitting in a brush. The Sponge want to run the risk.
Oh,
No,
they're
it's
trying to
not
get
going
on
to go
top
for
of
perfect.
perfect. Yeah, he does have flash.
Ele errou, mas ele não deu E flash, pô.
Yeah, he's going to be just follow flash.
Meu Deus,
over
o
the wall.
Perfect
The
sempre
focus
dá um
is on
jeito, né?
Harpoon.
He's dead.
Meu
Now
Deus, kill
Siga
com
is gonna
Azir?
come over, say hello, and Sponge says no.
Cara, que Azir.
No kill either, it's fine. I was the POG of game 1. Did you even watch?
Do you even know?
Do you know about the Sponge?
They don't know about the Sponge. Pioshik does know about Rascal.
Não tinha mana?
Because, Rascal
Pô, mas e aí? Não tem mana, você faz?
doesn't have, anything
Cadê? Vamos ver de novo, ó. E flash.
And, yeah, the flash E
Se ele-
missing was
Mano, ele
unfortunate,
errou.
but doesn't
Ele errou
really
o
matter.
E-flash.
The main thing is that Perfect and I think
Mano, ele errou o E-flash.
immediately afterwards, while Pioshik is already heading back
Tô
and
preocupado.
ends up going down, which definitely a rookie mistake. You should be expecting the enemy jungler to at the very least respond. And this is actually quite big, as we do have a scuffle in bot lane, but it's Cyrocon.
Just a scuffle.
It's not more than that. Is that with
Caraca, que top tá
the
perdendo
assist
muito,
over
não?
Rascal, plus the fact that he was able to teleport back immediately to the top lane, the amount of damage that was done to him was...
Mano, que briga de
was very
foice
mitigated.
alguns players desse jogo, velho.
To completely shut
Ó, por
him
exemplo,
out of the-
eu confio literalmente zero Perfect de Rumble. Zero.
Yeah, absolutely. Looks like Huni got a hold of perfect in between games. He has gone for the
Um setup de Azir.
time around.
Meu Deus do céu.
And, you know, especially when Rascal's going, like, Maw first item. It's
Yeah.
like, okay, well, might be good to get rid of some of that MR. And actually just shred through him.
Mano, aqui é briga de
You wanna be able
foice,
to
filho.
catch up to the Aatrox anyway. You don't necessarily need
Ah, o Jarvan, mano, o Jarvan, apesar de ser um Jarvan, que é uma merda, hoje em dia, é um cara que é bom, mano. É um cara que eu sinto que tá com vontade de ganhar o jogo, pô. Jogou certinho, foi top da cover, matou o cara.
This is very, very similar to what happened in the previous game, where the early game for the Aatrox just is a really bad.
Ah, o bot tá suave também.
Sponge finding a kill on this Rumble.
Okay, gonna get the flash out of BDD here.
That's big.
Bom, isso aqui é muito bom. O Jarvan vai estar 6.
MD is your way. We are back to old times. You press your R button and the flash is gone.
And Sponge just now hit level 6 as
Mano,
well.
essa lane a gente já assistiu de Jinx e TK. Eles amassavam muito mais, velho. Tô sentindo que tá muito suave, velho. Caraca, eles vão givar mesmo? Que vão, né? Faz sentido givar. Jarvan fica com o tempo na frente, ó. Jarvan já tá bem forte, vai tentar gankar mid agora que tá sem flash.
Yeah. No big surprise.
Legal.
PT gonna pick this one up. Sponge, this is the big question. You're gonna take your red buff, and where are you going to go with it? Could look to top as well. Perfect doesn't have his flash.
Very true.
Rascal doesn't have his, but especially if they start a scuffle and either Satab or Rascal is able to bait them into a close fight, could work out pretty well for them. BDD is going back right now, doesn't have TP, so same for Perfect actually, going back, doesn't have TP. So at the moment, Sponge will
Olha o farm do top,
his
mano.
enemies to return to the lane. if he wants
700 de
to
gold
find
já.
anything.
Yeah, I think mid is most likely here, especially with Satap also going for a back. Gonna pick up
Os caras têm mais gold
Ferry, as we have started to love
e a Jinx ainda tem a batedora, ainda vai fazer mais gold ainda.
the Ferry
Um Drake.
from yeah,
Fairy in a bottle, yeah, that's what it is.
as well as a blasting one. Gonna be feeling good about that, but yep, Sponge should be looking towards mid, and BDD, I think he knows. I think he has an inkling.
É, não, o BDD tem que jogar aqui com muito, mano, muito medo agora, velho.
And he's just giving up the cannon.
Do you think he cares about that cannon? Not
They
even for
read
a
it.
second.
Muito adulto, né,
Even
cara?
that barrel as well is like, you are
Muito
not
adulto,
freezing
velho.
my mid laner without flash. No way. Double bodyguards here for BDD.
Muito adulto. Cara, assim, vou falar a real pra vocês.
Perhaps Sponge should have just taken the free
Se
kill.
sou eu ali, já tô pegando a catapulta.
But,
Ah, tu vai tomar gank. É. Aí é culpa do meu time que não tá mid.
Sponge not gonna commit.
and still no play. I mean, we have a 1-to-1 scoreline. There was some action early on in the top lane. And outside of that, it's just farming, just hanging out. Pyosik is now doing the Void Bubs. And BDD is coming over.
30 CS top.
But it's gonna take one of
E
each spawn.
uma wave na mid e no bot.
Go on his merry way.
Só o top mesmo que tá sendo amassado.
As we'll see, Pyosik should know.
Tadinho, meu mano Sponge quer muito gankar o mid, cara. E o BDD não dá ângulo, velho. O BDD não se arrisca. Pô, eles matam?
They are very good at sussing
Matou
this
não.
out, knowing that Plata is missing. And these little traps that DRX is setting aren't really paying off, so that means the moment, every time that Sponge gets spotted, Perfect gets to shove in another wave, gets to really bully this Aatrox.
A Zaya aqui, mano, não sei se ela tem um jogo tão bom, guys. Porque ela tem pouco range, né? Aí pra jogar contra Jinx e Orianna, meio chato, não?
That's where old gold lead is. It's towards the top side.
Yeah. And again, I mean, it doesn't feel good to be Jarvan and just full clear the jungle and not really find an angle. The mid one was sussed out multiple times. And, you know, you gotta find something with this. You don't just want to sit out and do nothing. I mean, you are sitting
Mata Kraken pra Zaya já.
and Aatrox, so maybe they're just saying, okay, well, we don't have to force plays.
Mano, olha o cover que o BDD tem que jogar mid, velho. O Javo tá toda hora mid, mas também o Lissin não sai do mid. Os itens aqui tá melhor pra DRX. Se rolasse uma fight agora, eu acho que a DRX tem mais chance de ganhar.
When it comes to scaling than it was last time around, but the idea is the same in that DRX have a really well scaling comp. It's just about the range as the shockwave.
Very nice shockwave as Barrel going to force a flash in the aftermath as the rocket sailing wide. I don't believe that would have killed Satan. Deft is trying to help out. You see Deft is down a level, needs to really
É isso, Ted. Nossa, que má vontade.
Now Teddy in kind of an awkward spot.
Ó, esse cara morre, não? Esse cara morre. Ai, teve TP.
But now there's some help coming over the Featherstorm as well as they're trying to take down Barrel, but he is not going to go down, and in fact it's Pleta who's given over as a kill. As DRX going a bit too
Ó, o TP do BDD, mano. Ô, o BDD tá jogando bem, velho. Sério mesmo. Perdeu o flash ali, não deu ângulo nenhum. Tepou bot agora. Tá com o farm, mano, praticamente even.
Good TP, ensuring that the play goes the way of KT. First the win in mid, then the win towards the bottom half of the map. And Deft already was going to be ahead naturally because he himself went for Cole, whereas Teddy did not. You can see that right now as well. Deft already with his boots finished. Gonna be feeling good here on this Jinx right from the
KT tá, mano, o KT tá jogando melhor nesse jogo. É que também, nesse jogo aqui, eles só precisam da cover mid.
Oh, hello. Sponge not afraid of anything. Maybe he should have been as he gets kicked into.
Caralho, olha o W do Barry, mano. Caralho, oh, que alto nível, tá? Passeio. Aqui é passeio. Ah, demorou só um jogo, galera, pra começar a jogar o game. Da hora.
And this time around, it's KT that is winning these skirmishes left and right. Very nicely done there.
Foi um bom predict ali do Barry. Apesar de não ter acertado, foi um bom predict.
With him ending up going down and baiting one of his teammates into death as well. Deixe with a really nice flash to make sure that that Jarvan does end up going down, and that's the second Drake as well.
Oh boy, what's going on over here? Gets spat out on top
Bate, Zaya, bate, Zaya.
Now Sponge just
Tadinhos. Aqui é passeio, guys. A Jinx tá muito forte já, 2 kills.
No, and what I imagine is that here I said, stop falling for the shenanigans, play safe. And really, that's kind of what KT is doing. They're not the ones making proactive moves, they're responding. Teddy oversteps, we have the immediate follow-up. Our red is getting invaded, that's fine. We will make sure that we go and make a counterplay as here. A lot of damage just goes into the wrong target. I think if Plata flashes here, then before the auto from Depths can maybe they'll be fine. As here,
Olha o W agora do TK, olha o W do TK. Ó, ele dá a linguada e W já lá onde o cara ia flechar. Só que o Sponge foi inteligente. Nossa, mano. Eu sei que jogou bem também.
But it isn't the case, and Barrel hand delivers a tasty snack, and then Plata ends up making it out with Sponge. Probably should have just trusted the fact that his teammate is a Rakan. Instead, tries to help and makes matters worse, and it's not over, but it is looking pretty close to with Bounty.
Porque o R do Azir não pegou no Lee Sin, guys, ele flechou, né?
And DRX, their composition,
O POC flechou o ult do Azir.
This does really fall apart very quickly, and look at who the people are that are fed, most notably Deft. He's going to be feeling good.
Yeah, they're absolutely going to be feeling amazing about this position. I still think that DRX is comp.
Mano, 15 minutos de jogo já tem as bounties na torre, tá ligado? Tá com muita diferença de gold já. 3k, mano. 3k 15 minutos na LCK é muita coisa. 3k 15 minutos na LCK é como se fosse, sei lá, 8 mil de gold no CBLOL.
Not nearly as clean as game number 1 on the side of DRX, but I'm still not willing to count them out. They did kind of make me a bit of a believer after game number 1, and it's not all so bad. A lot of the gold is going on to the Lee Sin as well, you know, if we just ignore the 2 kills on Jinx for now.
I like great, very selective looking.
Very selective.
We have to in this game, though.
Yeah, of course. And, you know,
Aí
I
mid.
think that there is still going to be an opportunity if somebody on the side of KT does go down. But again, flash is all available. They are going to use the cataclysm here, but doesn't even have to flash because Tom Kent is right there.
O ult do TK é muito demorado o cooldown? Bem mais do que o do Java? Acho que é mais demorado, mas é tanto, será?
And Barrel not going to be feeling too bad about that one. That's his job this game. See Jinx, eat Jinx. That's it. That's all he needs to do. Every time that Deft is threatened, make sure that he gets to play the video game.
Mesma coisa, acho que toda vez que eu já voltar, ele vai ter comida. Meu Deus. Mataram, boa. Legal, boa play, mano. Pô, da hora que pelo menos a DRX não tá, tipo, se apequenando, né, mano? Tá jogando de igual pra igual, velho. São ruins? São. Mas, ó, o que tava quase 4k de gold já tá 2k. Eles não estão desistindo de jogar, não, velho.
As a dive on Rascal here, he doesn't have his ultimate. Yeah, I think good choice to abandon.
Meu mano, o setup tá farmando maneiro, velho. 180 de farm.
And blue buff does end up going through. We haven't talked about the Hex Gate or the Hex Stack Drake rather yet, but that is a lot of CS being given or being fed into the turret. And these are the moments that DRX need to find. These type of creative plays.
Todas was level 6.
Yeah. To get their way back into this game, and unfortunately for BD, with 2 people, maybe you cannot play it. 3 people there are basically not going to happen. But this is, I think, the breaking point, one way or another. Either DRX get this dragon, and then I do think they have a good shot of remaining relevant in this game, or we see KT winning.
Caraca, mano, é que a Jinx tá muito gigantesca, velho. Nossa, lembra muito a minha no auge, quando eu comecei. Olha isso. Mata Kraken já e quase E. Você é louco.
How much value can they get from this Devour?
Yeah, I think as DRX, you might want to play how Bong the Freaks played yesterday. Just get a very wide concave, don't get hit by
Rakan vai pegar flanco. Aí viram ele. Tomar um QW já na cabeça, já pra ficar ligado, ó. Plau! Só sai, guys. Dá pra fightar aí não, mano. Nossa senhora, velho. Que fight desorganizada da DRX. Bate, Ted. Bate, Ted. Que o Rakan. Toma. Toma mais um da Jinx. Aqui foi. Aqui foi, 1 a 1. Relaxezinha. Quando você acordar, você vai ver que a KT ganhou 2 jogos.
And when the jungler is dead, there isn't any front line. DRX comp on the back foot doesn't really get to do a whole lot. And this looks a little silly initially from Perfect and Barrel, but at the same time, definitely worth it. DDD forces a flash out of Bleda, and then Bleda tries to save his buddy, only for Daft to flash get excited. And effectively, even though the Nexus is standing, probably end the game. That's Soul Point, that's an even more fed Jinx, and outside of a Baron flip or KT walking into like a 4-man Cataclysm, Feather Recall.
Guys, depois desse jogo aqui, né? A série tá 1 a 0 aqui, né? Pra DRX vai ficar 1 a 1 pra KT. Eu pegarei um cafezinho, tá? Um cafezinho, um pãozinho na manteiga e espero que vocês me acompanhem, tá? 4h30 da manhã já tá na hora de a gente tomar aquele cafezinho. Tá liberado janta? Tá, pô. Ah, se você ainda não dormiu, é janta. E eu dormi, é café da manhã. Pode almoçar? Cara, almoçar às 5 da manhã é brincadeira, né, guys? Não consigo entender como isso acontece. Pizza com café? Bom. Bom. Né, pra dar aquele sustinho no estômago, né? O problema é assustar demais aí, ele não volta.
He can dash over the wall when he doesn't have his wings.
I mean, they're there. He just doesn't flare them out.
I guess. Yeah, but that's
Aquele cafezinho da manhã de uma pizza portuguesa com café quente. Que delícia, né?
That's a good question. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have the answer to that one.
Todo mundo chega a gritar pedindo socorro.
Maybe it's his sword. Maybe his sword is so large that he just uses it for that upward lift.
He like throws it upwards and then has himself because he's actually not heavy at all.
Runando a Jinx? Acho que não, guys. Aqui é canhão pra Jinx. Tá ligado? Ela tá contra 2 bonecos ali que sofrem quando perdem no range. Azir e Zaya. São 2 bonecos que não conseguem jogar contra range maior que o deles. Ela lança um canhão. Nossa, os caras já tá indo pro Rabadão, mano. Ó o Rumble. Rabadão de segundo item, foda-se, mano. Caralho, muito dano. Uma pergunta. Abacaxi na pizza é bom ou não é? É meme ou não é meme?
I'd say probably not, no. But I guess don't judge a book by their cover as well, so maybe he is.
We don't know what Aatrox gets up to.
Bom meme, meme ruim, bom meme. Metade, metade, guys.
Should have asked him. Does anyone in our chat even know who that is? That artist?
Assim, vou falar pra vocês. Tô com vontade de experimentar.
I prefer not to answer that.
Tô com vontade de experimentar. Abre votação. Vict, abre essa votação, Vict. O chat quer saber se a pizza de abacaxi com abacaxi é boa ou é ruim.
If you're coping, you could look at that one number and say, hey.
You got to cope earlier,
So you're saying there's a chance
Cara, eu adoro essa mistura de sal com doce, mano. Amo. O agridoce, né? Que a rapaziada chama agridoce. Gosto muito.
Some vintage barrel Nautilus, like say 2021 era, maybe around MSI. I don't know if anyone else remembers that with as much dismay as I do, but this game though, we get new barrel, who's just clean and solid, and the Hail Mary comes through, Valdez.
Yeah, for some reason, DRX has
Guys, isso aqui é loucura? Isso aqui é loucura? Mano, o Barão caiu. Roubou. Ele não, ele se recusa. Ele se recusa. Ele se recusa. Os caras deram um FF, mano. Ele se recusa a perder Baron, velho. Ele é uma máquina. Uma máquina minha.
That was nothing. You don't get the Baron. You don't win the fight. And, you know, game was already looking pretty rough. We were coping very hard, and even we didn't really believe it. And now the game is done. So, DRX decide to take a big risk, and the big risk does not end up paying off.
Mano, a fight foi nem close, velho. Tipo, ninguém tomou dano, olha isso. Olha isso, mano, ninguém... Ah, só o Rumble perdeu metade da vida. Caralho, velho.
Very close, but not enough. And even if they did get the Baron, I don't think they would have gotten away with it. So KT just playing a slow, steady, and clean game of League of Legends, punishing every single attempt from DRX.
Yeah, I don't mind it from DRX trying to go for that. They have insane amounts of damage.
Might as well.
They have a Zir Zaya and they have Jarvan flag, plus the extra damage from Jarvan and Aatrox.
Deft maior aposentado na Ative? Acho que não, guys. Não, maior não. Ele é bonzinho, mano, mas, né? Não é mais o Deft, né? Aquele Deft que a gente conhecia, lembra? Aquele Deft bolado que ganhava tudo. Ele não é mais. Ganhar o Mundial já foi assim, mano, um milagre na vida dele.
Going to go for the bottom lane push with already almost 5,000 gold in the Baron power play.
And KT is going to leisurely shove. And I actually like normally, obviously, I have a...
Não, ele merecia, pô. Poxa, mano. Mano, cara, tá louco, velho. Esse Mundial aí da DRX, mano. Coisa de louco, velho. Coisa de louco. Pô, melhor Mundial do... Não vai ter nunca um Mundial tão foda que nem esse, mano. Melhor Mundial, mano.
As does BDD, and that's just the end of it. They have a great vision control behind them as well to ensure that they don't get caught off guard by, say, Rascal TPing in. So it's a very
cara, Hextech, Soul, Jinx e Canhão.
Oh God.
Me. Me. Olha o Deft, mano. Toma do Deft. Toma. Vai, Deft. Não para, não. Eita. Mais um. Caralho, joga muito. Legal. Fizeram só isso um jogo atrasado, mas tudo bem. Parabéns aí.
We will have our game 3.